If Will Smith had read Misadventures of Captain Save-'em, maybe he wouldn't have touched Chris Rock at the Oscars.
Coming to paperback and e-readers everywhere, E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewoman in this action-packed all-new E-Steam series adventure. Pre-order your copy of E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman on Amazon.com today.
Actress Jada Pinkett Smith has now thrown her husband, Will Smith, straight under the bus. Now, according to reports, your Jada Pinkett Smith is saying that she wishes Will Smith did not slap Chris Rock at the Oscars, and she also goes on to say that she's a strong woman who didn't need protecting. She's saying that she's a strong, opinionated woman who can fight her own battles, and she's out here talking about all of this stuff in order to try to avoid taking any sort of accountability. Now, when we take a look at the tape, it clearly shows that your Jada Pinkett clearly gave Will Smith a look, and based on that look, your Will Smith believed that he needed to take action. And he thought he was defending the honor of his wife. Unfortunately, she shows us how dishonorable she is, because instead of standing by her husband, she goes out here and further piles on her husband by further going out here and distancing herself from what transpired at the Oscars. Now, this is typical behavior of your predatory female, and I talk about this type of behavior in depth in my book, The Misadventures of Captain Save-'em. And in that book, I talk about why when men go out here and put on a cape to try to defend the honor of a predatory female, the only reward they're going to get is smashed in the face with a big hunk of kryptonite doo-doo. And that's what your Will Smith got when he decided to go out here and put on his Ben Cooper cape and his Mickey Mouse galoshes and decided to go out here and play Captain Save-'em at the Oscars, where he went out here and slapped Chris Rock. His reward from his bald-headed Lois Lane was that instead of giving him a kiss like Lois gives Superman, what she decided to do was drop her skid mark thong, go out here, drop out a big turd, and smash that big green turd right in Will Smith's face, and then watch as he freaks out about getting a big hunk of kryptonite doo-doo smashed straight in his face. But this is what happens to most of your Captain Save-'ems. Many of these men, what they do is they go out here creating a covert contract with predatory females like a Jada Pinkett Smith, thinking that if they go out here and play the hero, they will go out here and receive a hero's reward. But instead of receiving a hero's reward, what these men usually receive is a big steaming hunk of kryptonite doo-doo smashed straight in their face, and then as the kryptonite doo-doo is smashed straight in their face, the female then stands there and laughs at this guy and goes along with his enemies in continuing to ridicule and mock him. And sadly, Will Smith has not really figured out the pattern as related to predatory females like a Jada Pinkett Smith, who basically orchestrated this entire incident. And now that the heat is coming down on her, what she's doing now is trying to distance herself to avoid any sort of accountability and any sort of responsibility. Because your Jada Pinkett clearly is, to me, is not the strong woman she says she is. And if she was a strong woman, she would have the strength of character to be able to roll with a joke like a Chris Rock told. That joke basically in and of itself was basically a tame joke, and she would have basically had the strength of character to just either laugh the joke off or basically ignore the joke. And if she truly did have strength of character, she would have stood by her man to protect his image, and she, instead of directing this man to go out here and assault Chris Rock and slap him with a look, she would have pulled her husband to the side on the biggest night of his life, where he's being nominated for an Oscar, and she would have pulled him to the side and said, "No, honey, we're not going to do this on your night. You're not going to go out here and embarrass yourself here. You have too much to lose." And that is what your Jada Pinkett would have done if she truly were a strong woman. And if this so-called strong woman were truly strong, again, she would have had that strength of character to be able to stand in the face of a comedian making a really lame joke. But she isn't really strong. What she's doing now is putting on that false facade of the strong, independent black woman. And if you're so strong and independent, I say you need to go out here and be on your own in these streets, because the way your Jada Pinkett has basically treated your Will Smith is extremely disrespectful, because to go out here and instigate a fight between Will and Chris Rock at the Oscars shows how little class this female has. Because again, a woman of character knows how to carry and conduct herself in a big social event, and she knows not to bring the behavior of a red Solo Cup cookout to a major international event like the Oscars, and she knows not to get in her feelings about a joke at one of these events, because her behavior reflects on her husband, and her behavior sends a message to the world about how her husband represents in the world. And what your Jada Pinkett Smith did at the Oscars really showed that your Will Smith is not the leader that he was presenting as related to his image, and it also showed that his house wasn't in order. Because when you have a leading man who is out here starring in major films, the idea in people's minds is that this man's house is in order, his family is on point, his wife is in order, because in order for him to be able to sell himself at the movies, he has to build trust with the public. And your Jada Pinkett basically broke the trust as related to Will Smith's image over the last couple of months, talking about her entanglement with August Alsina, and then further emasculating him on Red Table Talk. If this woman was so strong as she says, she would not be out here putting her business out on the street and humiliating her husband. No, she would have had the character to say, "I don't really feel right in this marriage anymore. It's not working out, and I'm going to wind up leaving you because things are not working out." That is what a woman of character does, and she does this in private. She does not go out here and take her husband's image and reputation and tarnish it by going out here and emasculating and degrading her husband. And she doesn't go out here and disrespect her husband on a public platform like a Red Table Talk. If this woman could fight her own battles, as she asserts, she would be fighting her battles in private, and she would have gone out here and talked to Chris Rock in private by herself. She would not have needed to go out here and direct Will Smith with her eyes to go do dirty work for her. No, doing dirty work like your Jada Pinkett does is something I saw in the neighborhood of the South Bronx when I was attending places like Park West High School and Taft High School back in the late 80s and the early 90s. And these girls would go out here, they would start some mess with another dude, then they would go out here and send another dude to go after this other dude that they started with. And while they played strong, independent black woman by starting the beef, they sat back as these guys would go out here and sometimes fight and sometimes get shot. And while these guys were out here putting their lives on the line, this female would be sitting in the back smiling. And then when the blowback came and the police were starting to ask questions about why these guys were fighting, the first thing these females would sit there and say, "I didn't tell him to do that." But they did tell them to do that in an implied fashion, And while these guys are out here, one guy is dead, the other guy is in prison being traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, cups of coffee, and your bags of pretzels. This female is out here having a good time with two other dudes, and both of those dudes, who are one that lost their life and the other one that's in prison, they never knew they were the crash test dummies in a shit test. And both of these guys would not know that they failed the shit test because they didn't have the courage to go check a raggedy female like a Jada Pinkett Smith. And what happens is, sadly, many people now, instead of going up and checking a Jada Pinkett Smith, they're going to buy into her nonsensical rhetoric where she sits there and says, oh, I don't need Will Smith to protect me. But the whole thing is, you sure wanted him to go out here and defend your honor on the biggest night of his life passively, so you could aggressively see this man's life and career be destroyed. And because your Will Smith was not a good critical thinker, he went out here and failed the shit test and wound up with his life becoming a big pile of crap. And on the top of that big pile of crap, your Jada has now squatted down, dropped down the skid mark thong, dropped out one of these big green turds, and smashed kryptonite doo-doo in your Will Smith's face, and is now, after stepping down that mound, basically laughing at this guy the same way the hood rats used to laugh at these drug dealers and these thugs after she would go out here and get this guy to go out here and shoot some square dude or some other dude at a party. And while that guy is in prison getting traded for those Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, bags of Fritos chips, bags of Quinlan pretzels, and getting his booty torn open 3 different ways, she's back out here having a good old time because she's gotten these guys to go out here and sate her ego to make her feel like she's some sort of prize. And that's basically what Jada Pinkett Smith wanted to do with Will Smith, is she wanted to make herself some sort of prize. And basically what she wanted to do was go out here and make it like she was the center of attention, and because she was jealous of the success Will Smith had received getting this Oscar nomination for this role playing Richard Williams in King Richard, because she saw this brother out here finally getting his success and living his dream, and she wanted to make his dream into a nightmare. And now that she's made his life a nightmare, she wants to throw him under the bus and talk about she didn't ask him to do this. But the real thing was, she shows us all that it was never about defending her honor, and that she had no honor whatsoever to defend. It was all about her ego, all about her getting attention for herself. And with these statements, she shows us that she's not, it really wasn't about defending any honor. So that whole argument many people have about, oh, he was standing up for her honor. No, what happened here is like what I talk about in my ebook, Misadventures of Captain Save-'em. Your Will Smith fell right into the trap that predatory females set with their crap test, and that trap is to go out here and bait a dude into reacting as related to a situation, and then when he reacts, he acts in a way that he thinks is defending her honor, but winds up being detrimental to himself, because now he's gone out here and committed a crime, and now that he's committed this crime, he's the one dealing with the fallout as related to the situation. That's how it happens in the streets. These guys have to deal with the fallout of their shooting a guy or attacking a guy, and they wind up doing time in prison. But your Will Smith is doing the same as related to this whole situation. He's lost his membership with the Academy. He's had multiple projects put on hold, and he's lost millions of dollars because his film Emancipation has been delayed, and production delays on a film can cost a producer lots of money. So your Jada Pinkett Smith has gone out here and brought the ghetto straight to Hollywood. And while she was drinking her red Solo cup full of Kool-Aid at the Oscars, she was having a good time. And now she's having another good time with this red Solo cup at her house. And she's out here trying to pull herself away and distance herself the same way those girls who used to hang with the dope dealers back in my day in the late 80s used to do. Back in the 80s, these same girls would start stuff with guys, get them into fights, and then they would play Ms. Sweet and Innocent, saying, "Oh, I didn't tell him to do anything. Oh, I didn't say for him to do anything." And then when the heat comes to them, they go out here and try to pull themselves away. But the whole thing is that because nobody holds these females accountable, they go out here and live another day to participate in more ratchetness. And there's nothing more ratchet than throwing a man straight under the bus after you orchestrate a situation, send him out here to do some dirty work. He does the dirty work, and now you want to go out here and try to pull yourself away, and then you want to play Ms. Sweet and Innocent. This is the game that has been played on so many brothers for so many years, and it's really disappointing to see this type of ghetto game being played straight at the Oscars. And the sad part is many people don't see who the puppet master really is, and your Will Smith sadly still doesn't see who the puppet master still is, because this simp, like many of these Captain Save-Ems, he's still talking about he's standing by his wife, not understanding that this woman is stomping on him, and she's looking to go out here and do a Mexican hat dance on his grave if she possibly could. Because if a woman truly cared about you, she would not put you in harm's way, and an honorable woman would not go out here and send a signal for you to go out here and attack a man on the biggest night of your life. That's not what an honorable woman would do. And what your Jada Pinkett is doing is proving everybody's point that she's not an honorable woman, and Will Smith was a fool for going out here and defending the honor of a dishonorable female who is nothing more than a ratchet hood rat in a designer gown. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to learn more about how to deal with predatory females like a Jada Pinkett Smith, you can pick up my books, Stop Simpin', The Misadventures of Captain Save-Em, and The Man Crisis on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find those books on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. The sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.